Path of Titans had me wondering if you hasn't wanted to play as a dinosaur. Whether watching Jurassic Park or playing through the opening of Ark Survival Evolved, Hugh hasn't thought of the wondrous possibilities of playing as one of these magnificent saurians, chasing down herds of herbivores as a predator, or foraging in forests during a time when nature built everything large. Admittedly, playing as a dinosaur isn't new in video games, but those past games haven't quite scratched the itch of being a terrible lizard living 65 million years in the past. Enter Alderaan Games. You've decided that it's time to take us way, way, way back into prehistory to live out our dinosaur fantasies. In theory, Path of Titans is an open-world MMO based on the template established by games such as Conan Exiles with its open-ended scope. The game is a survival MMO, in which you play as either a carnivore or a herbivore, and try not to get killed in an unforgiving world. Alderaan Games were kind enough to provide us with a founder's key to test our survival skills, but before we take a dive into these prehistoric shenanigans, it must be noted Path of Titans is still in active development. As such, not all the game features have been implemented yet, and it can feel bare bones. With that in mind, we're covering this as a preview, rather than a review, as it would be unfair to attach a score to a game that is yet to hit version 1.0. That's it, we'll cover its current state, implemented features, and its potential. I earlier suggested Path of Titans takes its cue from survival crafting games like Conan Exiles, but of course you aren't going to do any crafting. What you do get is a massive map for you to try survive in. After choosing from one of 26 dinosaur variants, you can play in either multiplayer PvP mode or a single-player adventure mode. The multiplayer mode features a brief tutorial on how to survive in this primeval past, whereas the adventure mode just dumps you into the single-player world with no fanfare whatsoever, leaving you to figure it out as you go along. Now, as with similar games, you have to make sure you're constantly fed and hydrated. Think managing hunger and water meters. There's a stamina bar to limit your time spent sprinting or swimming, assuming your chosen dino is capable of such things, but it primarily governs various attacks such as claw swipes and bites that have a brief cooldown before you can use them again. You start off as a juvenile dinosaur and get to grow into an adult by gaining XP in the world, unlocking new attacks as you age, and watching your size increase. Each dinosaur has its own pros and cons, and while many people will likely start off their journey with the iconic T-Rex, they'll soon discover it can't sprint, making for a rather slow trek if you want to go anywhere. You'll also discover the typically docile Triceratops is a pretty formidable herbivore opponent when you're hungry. The game's quest system is incredibly simple and repetitive though. Whether you're a herbivore or carnivore, you'll find yourself having to collect flowers and acorns or deliver branches to specific places, presumably for nesting. Each region of the map is full of these cookie-cutter quests to grind for experience, while the class-based quests roll around with similar objectives each time, typically sending you to specific areas of the map, or tasking you with killing a certain amount of a specific critter. Right now, in terms of quests, that's all there is to do. Their only purpose is to provide you with XP and marks, which function as the currency you can use to buy new attacks, or, better yet, customize your dinosaur skin. Oh, and you can customize your lair as well. If you head on over to the home cave, you can expand its rooms and customize them with placeable props, such as different plants. It's all very weird. One of Path of Titans' bullet point features is that the servers will support up to 200 players on a map, along with AI dinosaurs and other critters. Right now, the functioning servers support a much smaller total population of players, and AI dinosaurs have yet to be implemented. As a result, whether you're into single-player or multiplayer modes, the game is quite empty. At the moment, there are only 4 small critters to hunt, who pop out of the same sort of burrows, with a randomized location. This makes the prehistoric era feel particularly lifeless. Even should you start up a multiplayer mode, you're left with the same empty real estate. The chances of actually seeing another player, if you're not willing to use the chat box and join a group, is incredibly random. It took me well over 4 to 5 hours before I randomly ran into another player-controlled dinosaur, an encounter that ended just as well as you might think it would. In the rare event you do encounter another player, it also becomes a toss-up as to whether they'll just run from you or attack you on sight. Should you be willing to brave the multiplayer waters with strangers, you can group up to complete quests or hunt down other dinosaurs. Right now, there's a whole bunch of cave camping going on. Although the official servers aren't at full capacity just yet, plenty of player servers are up and running. Another positive is that Path of Titans already supports mods, and there's already a bunch of new content you can download, ranging from maps to new dinosaurs. However, it seems these can only be used in private or player servers, and not the official one just yet. Now sticking with the positives, the game can look quite nice with some lush environments on display. The star of the show, however, are the dinosaurs themselves, which are wonderfully modelled and animated, with a nice little helping of head tracking for your saurians, based on your camera position. Now, when I started Path of Titans, I wasn't sure what to expect, and my initial impressions weren't entirely positive. However, after a good couple hours of playing, coming to accept the random luck element when I was predated by larger dinosaurs, Path of Titans presented a rotating gameplay loop that felt rather sublime and addictive. There's a tranquil sense of getting somewhere without any real pressure at the moment. It provides an intriguing and compelling sense of satisfaction as I simply spend time exploring the world and watching my Allosaurus grow. That said, Path of Titan still feels very much like an evolving demo. There's an assortment of niggles and changes that need ironing out, such as server issues causing rubber banding and lag, and a map that could do with some named markers for easier navigation. There's clearly still a long road ahead for this game, but I can't wait to see it branch out from the preview stage and morph into a more feature-complete version. Specifically, I'm looking forward to environments full of AI-driven dinos, as I feel there's going to be a lot of potential for user-driven dynamic gameplay.